This time I've gone too far. No chance that you're looking back. The apple that fell in your garden won't stop growing through your trees. Careless, but am I good for you like this? Can you get me out of my head? This tunnel vision. Can you get me out of my head? Out of my head. This tunnel vision can't see through it. Wake up to the same room. Same day, don't remember it. I saw you at all before dawn. Can't sleep, only seems to twist my thinking. How am I good for you like this?
Hi. Oh, shit. Alrighty, so today we got the second matchup of the day with La Espanda versus Hot Take. So last week we know Hot Take coming off with a big win, and I'm pretty sure also La Espanda also won their game last week. I can't quite remember. I just got home, so I didn't have super amount of time to get this ready, but it should be an interesting matchup here. What do you think, Mo?
Yeah, I'm going to be totally honest. I don't really know any of the players, so you're going to be getting the raw commentary. So completely unbiased. I'm going to be telling you who's good at the game, and I'm going to be telling you who maybe needs some improvement. I don't know if I'm allowed to call anybody bad. I don't think I am, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, you're going to be getting the full Mo experience as a commentator. So I hope everyone's ready for that.
Indeed. Well, basically to break it down for you is that obviously don't need to go over the rules. The top players on each team right now are definitely uh, Moo Moo Milk and Carnage on the side of Last Panda, and then you have the top laner Axiom and the support Mega for Hot Take. Definitely another player to look out for would be Castroma. A lot of people already know this. I'm just trying to throw information out to you. But yeah, we saw last week the side of Hot Take. They were playing very well through their support top. Their support making a lot of really good roams. One of the things that I really like about him, he's a very high tier support, one of the higher tier supports in the league. And he definitely really knows his map rotations. He knows how to play through his winning lanes. And I thought it was kind of interesting that their ADC, as inexperienced as he is in this kind of team play environment, he did a really good job with Mega leaving that lane by himself and going up towards the top side of the map to help out Axiom and Castroma.
Nice. What kind of champions does the support play? Is he more of a tanky support player, like squishy, like Janna, Lulu, or is it kind of all over the place for him?
He plays, I think, pretty much almost anything. If I had to describe his playstyle, I think he plays mostly the enchanters. If I look at a lot of his games, he does play some Morgana, some Sona. He also plays mostly the Leona. So
Yeah, that's a
he's
lot of
jack of all
engage.
trades. He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So he is one of the higher tier players in this league. Him and Mailbox share that honor together, being the highest tier players. But
Mm-hmm.
as we've seen before in this league, rank doesn't mean everything. Like, it's definitely about team cohesion, being able to play together and understanding all of that. We've seen a lot of teams that go really budget in certain areas and it really pays off for them, and they pay a lot of money or pay a lot of points in a certain area and it really doesn't. So, but
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely far and wide showed that he was one of the better supports last week. I
Mm-hmm.
hope to see that again this week. On the other side, you have Lost Panda Complex's team, and him and Moo Milk seem to also be playing very well together. So that'll be really interesting to see two of the top supports going at it. So
Yeah, definitely super exciting. We could maybe even see some jungle action. I know. So I'm a jungle main. I know that a lot of junglers nowadays don't really gank bot lane much, but maybe we'll be looking to change that up soon when the jungler decides to pick something like, I mean, I don't know, like anything is really good right now. So something like the Rammus or something like the Fiddlesticks. A lot of these like very, very snowbally type of junglers that are going to be able to just get right into get their bot lane rolling, get them ahead, and then just completely stomp the enemy. But we'll see what sort of strategy these teams come out to play. Anything can happen.
yeah, it looks like we're still waiting for one more on the side of. Let me bring this up because shout out to Intensified. He did not like how I was mispronouncing the team's name, and it is apparently La Espada. Sorry, Intensify. I'm gonna screw this up the whole day. It doesn't matter. They should have came up with a less confusing team name. All right, so we're waiting for them to come up with one more player. So,
listen, it's their fault. On behalf of them, I forgive you, even if they don't. So it's fine.
okay, he broke it down even more for me, kind of like the dictionary when you look it up. So let me pull this up for him again. It's La Espada.
La Espada. Did I pronounce it right?
La Espada. I hate it. All right, so Ellie, Ellie, we're gonna call him Ellie for the rest of the night. So I quit getting messages from people saying I'm mispronouncing this damn name. Someone contact Complex and tell him, don't make a name that I can't pronounce. I'm sorry.
Honestly, I'm with you on that one. We shouldn't have difficult to pronounce names. I mean, when there's a team fight or something going on, you don't want to be yelling like La Espada. Yeah, okay, that team is doing, and then like already you've gone through like maybe 50 different skills and abilities, and like the entire team fight's already over.
Yeah, like
I
mean, there's so many easy names to pronounce in this league. You got On the Spot, you got Hot Take, United Postal Service, and then I have to have like the Google Translate for me just to say it. I don't want to drone on about Complex's name. I just wanted to give him a little bit of some heckle because people are heckling me about it. But anyway, I think we are still waiting for one more person to hop on in here. I think we're waiting for. I don't think it's. Yeah, we're waiting for Kip to hop in. So, it's not. I can't think of too much to talk about right now. Kind of leaving me on the spot here with a. No pun intended. Leaving me on the spot here with a little bit of this waiting for Kip nonsense, but
yeah, I mean, here's something interesting. I looked up the support player, and he is that you were not joking when you were talking about his record. He has a lot of wins in his match history. Now, a lot of those are normals. Actually, basically, all of them are normals in flex games. So, you know, take what you will from that. But every single game for the past 10 games is a win. So that support is definitely feeling very, very strong. Megaloblastic, he's definitely feeling really good about jumping into this game. I feel like, and they're just games from all sorts of different champions, and he has like a win on every single one of them. And not only that, when I look at the left side of his screen, I just see reds everywhere. Like every single thing in his OP.GG is above 60%, except the Morgana. The Morgana, he's not doing too hot with that one, but everything else is looking really, really good. So
yeah, I don't think we'll see him pull out Morgana, but even if he does, I'm sure he'll do fine. I guess we are actually we do see that we are getting the last few players in here. I'm gonna pull up. Should be having draft come in soon, so we'll see what draft starts up. But I should be interested to see this draft. I know Complex, he does a lot of his research. He, knows a lot about the teams. I've seen some of his draft books. He's very, very strategic. So I'm kind of interested. Usually his team last year was really kind of known for being able to have the really good drafts and winning through the good drafts. So we will see if he can pull something like that out today, because last week he might need it. Hot Take was looking really good from like start to finish. So I think it will kind of help. And I think he is actually playing in the jungle today. If these lineups are correct. So it looks like they will have Demon Angel into the bot lane, which is a complete game changer for me. Demon Angel is absolutely nuts. This is going to be a hard bot lane for Hot Take to contest with Demon Angel and Moo Milk.
Yeah, definitely. And I still think it'll be a very, very interesting bot lane just because of how good like the support player seems to be. Like I think even you've mentioned it as well. Like it just definitely seems like a little too close to call from the beginning, and already we see the Kled ban coming through. So Kled is definitely one of those champions that can get rolling, and then we also see the Rakan, which is, like you mentioned, pointed at that bot lane.
Yeah, Kled actually, the top laner Axiom, it's one of his favorite champions. He got to play it last week, completely rolled over a team. He's very well known for his Aatrox, and his Kled. They might leave the Aatrox up as they do go with the Sivir ban. If I remember correctly, he does play a lot of Sivir. Sivir itself is pretty mixed with me. Like it just depends on different, like you can really exploit a Sivir depending on what you want to pick if you want to leave it up. So they are focusing a little bit too on the ADC. And we also have a Malphite ban coming through. So
Yeah.
Malphite, I don't know. Good engages. I'm not too high on that, but the Anivia I am. Castroma's Anivia is very scary. So I'm very glad that they banned that. And obviously got to throw a Tristana ban in there somewhere.
Yeah. Every ban, well, besides the Tristana, but I guess even Tristana. But both the Malphite and the Rakan, you're looking at a lot of engage. So I'm wondering if Red Team here wants to actually pick something very, very safe. Especially, I'm thinking about mid lane picks, but it could probably be any pick, really. Just something with not a lot of escapes. Or maybe they just don't want to play into those champions. I don't know. Maybe they're not thinking that hard about it. But if they want to pick something like, say, Cassiopeia or something, or another control mage mid lane, then those bans would definitely make sense. For now, though, picking the Caitlyn is definitely a very strong pick right now in the bot lane, and it's something that has a lot of range. And just really quickly, did you mention that their support plays Morgana?
That is actually not on Hot Take side. We were talking about how Mega on Hot Takes Morgana wasn't as good, but that is actually one of Caitlyn's better supports to go with. They are going to go with the Braum. I do actually like Caitlyn Braum. Caitlyn Braum is... Sorry, I was reading chat. Caitlyn Braum, there's a lot of range that comes in from Caitlyn. She's able to activate Braum's passive very easily. I don't think it's the best with Braum, but it should still work. I think very big playmaking support. He's not really as roomful, so we'll see how Mega, if he focuses a little bit more on that bot lane now that Demon Angel's in here. But we'll see what the rest of the bans round out. They might be able to finish out their ADC picks, or maybe they'll shift more towards jungle mid.
Yeah. It definitely seems like they may want to pick their jungle picks here. Like, I'm pretty sure on the side of Hot, they probably want to pick their jungle pick third, just because usually the strategy seems to be picking your solo laners last. But as I say that, the Malzahar comes through. So they definitely know something that I don't, because they're very comfortable just picking that Malzahar blind. No cares given about whether or not it gets countered, which is cool. So that opens up the spot for Hot to maybe pick a mid laner next champion rotation, or they can simply just wait it out and hope whatever it is that they want to pick into Malzahar doesn't get banned by LE. So we'll see what ends up happening here. And it is the Taric that comes through, so
I'm
like
confused.
Yeah.
I'm a tad bit confused.
You know what? I would. Am I allowed to guess about where the Morgana's headed here? Because I feel like I know exactly where Morgana's headed.
You can do whatever you want, bro. Jeez.
The Morgana is definitely jungle. Like I can feel it. All right, I went against the Morgana jungle earlier
Oh my
today.
god.
I absolutely decimated it. Don't get me wrong, but it is definitely not something that most teams are prepared for. And I don't know if Zach is the best pick into Morgana jungle. Actually, you can potentially. Okay, no. So they're
No,
not
looks like
gonna pick.
Astrom was gonna go with the Yone.
Yeah. So into Malzahar, they go with the Yone. But yeah,
They pick
Morgana.
Morgana jungle. I don't know what I'm gonna think. Like, Complex is a man of many things, but I didn't think Morgana jungle was one of them.
Yeah. Technically, if we're going really, really far back, like season 6, season 7, this was back when Morgana could be like any position really, like maybe not jungle as much, but definitely a top or mid laner as well. So we already know that Morgana isn't going mid, most probably, unless it's something really crazy like a top lane Malzahar. So that's why I'm thinking that this is definitely a jungle Morgana. And we're gonna go ahead and see if Hot is able to predict that, or if they just don't care, if they think that, because right now LE's team comp, if I don't know if you've noticed this, but this is a very, very pick oriented team comp with both the Morgana and the Malzahar. You have the suppress coming through and then setting up the snare, and then on top of that you also are setting up the Taric stuns for somebody to get really close to those, because we haven't seen the jungler yet, and a lot of junglers in this patch want to get really close up to your face and real personal about it. So we're going to see a lot of CC already in Ellie's team comp, and they're very pick oriented. So to counter that, they're going to Hot is picking up the Gragas, which I am actually a fan of.
Yeah, they are lacking a little bit of AP on their team, so I think Gragas was a good pick. I actually just noticed that probably everybody else already knows that LE did lose 2 of their bans. I was wondering what was going on with that, but they did lose 2 of their bans. You know, they had a sub, blah blah blah. Like, we don't need to go over the rules, but like, it's been ran through so many times. They just lost 2 bans. That's all we need to know. But,
Okay.
we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's gonna be picked.
I feel very, very like I'm definitely not in the loop, so I have no idea why they don't have those.
They had an emergency sub, so they lose their past 2. So since you don't know,
so it's like a penalty sub, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
We've just gone we've gone over it in stream so many times that.
Yeah, for sure.
They are gonna have the Ezreal here, so.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ezreal Taric, if it is Ezreal Taric, is really interesting because Ezreal, it has a little bit more mobility to lock down that stun. The con of it is that if you do want to use that mobility to lock down the stun for you, is that you are losing out on a 20 to about a 25 to 15 second cooldown in your E, which is pretty much your escape. Yeah. It's your second flash. So I'm not a hugest fan of that. I mean, Ezreal can definitely survive a lane against Caitlyn, and then Taric probably is not going to be used specifically for that. Oh my god, Axiom, please lock in the Teemo. Please lock in the Teemo, Axiom. I would love this. Please do it.
He would be picking the Teemo into an Ornn, so it's actually not
okay
a bad pick at all. Like, I think Teemo is actually very, very good into Ornn, as long as you can dodge Ornn's a little dash thing that he does to knock you up. You're totally fine to pick Teemo in this case, honestly. Especially if you're like confident in your Teemos. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of not as good Teemos, but decides against
Axiom, you disappoint me. We're going with the. That's so boring.
It goes with the Mundo into Ornn. Disappointed. So
messaging him after this game.
Yeah, you want your money back.
Yeah.
So
I thought I was gonna see the Teemo.
So I actually think Mundo is not a bad pick into Ornn at all. Like, when it gets to crazy late game, these two probably aren't going to be split pushing much. These two are both definitely team fight picks, but if they do end up reversing each other off in the very, very late game, Mundo definitely has the advantage. Early levels, I would have to give it to Ornn, so we're going to have to see what the junglers do with that, because we are definitely sort of in the spot where Ornn and Mundo are just not going to kill each other, like, ever. outside of jungle or intervention or something crazy happening, because like those two champions, you just see that and you just think of wet noodles. Like, it's just not like that top lane is probably going to be very boring. I'm predicting it's going to be very boring to watch that top lane.
I think jungle's probably gonna be pretty boring too. Like, all right, so my big thing with this is that the main damage dealers that they have on their team are definitely the Malzahar and the Ezreal, right? Well, they have a Mundo.
Yeah.
So they went for this thing where I feel like they're probably going Morgana jungle unless they're throwing the Ornn in there or the Ezreal in there. I don't know. It's confusing the shit out of me right now.
It's the Morg jungle, trust me.
It has to be. But like
Yeah.
against this team comp, you have if the Gragas decides to go more towards the tank build, even if he doesn't, you have a Mundo that like how are you going to take care of him? Like yeah, Ezreal can kite him out for a while and probably can cut him down after a little bit, but is it really going to matter when you're trying to focus down somebody and Mundo does a pretty decent amount of damage while your Yone and your Caitlyn are going to, you know, be able to chunk people down, especially Caitlyn from a safe distance. Like that's my big problem with the Morgana. Like their one tank Ornn is going to be, you know, having to take the bulk of all this and have really good engages and everything. But on the offside of this, like you just don't have a tank shredder. Like Ezreal can shred tanks, but that's just not what the champion is known for.
Yeah, so the Ezreal build is definitely something we want to keep our eyes on. Personally, I don't really know the best Ezreal build for shredding tanks, but I feel like it would be something more along the lines of getting an IE in there somewhere, maybe like some sort of crit.
The Ezreal tank shredder build is instead of going the Essence Reaver and the Dustblade, you go Divine Sunder and you get LDR somewhere, I think around third item.
Got it.
So it's his older build and you take cut down, but still at the same time, even with all that, I feel like someone like Kaisa was left up. You have a Vayne that's left up. Like all these things, if you're relying on that for your majority damage, and obviously I didn't know there was a Mundo up still, but you have to assume like you even have a really big tank and Braum that's going to be able to block a lot of that. Like I don't know if you've ever hit Ezreal Q on a Braum shield, but it
is not a good feeling.
It disappears. Like it's not a thing.
It is very, very disappointing. Now, granted, you still get the 1 second off of all of your abilities for landing that Q, but you know, still not the most fun interaction there for Ezreal. And like another thing that I mentioned earlier is that LE, they are very, very single target pick oriented. Like they have outside of Taric and Ornn, and I'll get to those in a bit, but Ezreal, Malzahar, and Morgana, these are single target damage dealers. Like they want to just find you in the jungle, find you in the river, someplace you're not supposed to be, and ruin your day and make you want to uninstall League of Legends. And the Ornn and Taric are sort of their like backup plan for that. Like just in case they get engaged on, they always have the Taric ult to fall back on, which I'm actually a pretty big fan of having. Like I just really like Taric as a champion. I just don't know if he's the best pick with an Ezreal because he is like, as you mentioned earlier, if Ezreal is delivering that stun, then something is very, very wrong or very, very correct because Ezreal is not really like supposed to be going in there unless you're in a very, very good situation. But realistically, Ezreal is not the ADC you want with Taric. Probably something a bit more defensive, something with more wave clear maybe would be a little better with the Taric. So laning phase, I wouldn't expect much from LE. Granted, they have a lot of disengage, so it's definitely going to be a game where Ezreal and Taric, they should be able to escape out of basically everything that Braum and Caitlyn have for them. Braum isn't really the best engaging support in the world, at least before level 6. So Taric and Ezreal should be fine until they hit 6. And then after that, I'm going to assume that Taric is probably going to start looking for some early roams, trying to maybe get his mid lane Malzahar rolling into the Yone and then try to work from that angle. Because laning phase, I don't really see these two bot lanes really like trying to duke it out very, very heavily. Like I could maybe see a lot of poke from Braum and Caitlyn onto Ezreal and Taric, but again, you know, Taric has heals, he's a pretty tanky guy, and Ezreal can usually just dodge everything. So if we're assuming even skill here, then I would probably just say that we would have to wait until after level 6 for many interesting things to happen. I could be totally wrong, there could be a lot of blood, but I don't think so, just based on how passive their Ellie's bot lane looks right now.
Yeah, I agree, and I have to just assume, like, right now, like, I feel like Hot Take just took this draft. Like, I feel like they took this draft way far away from Ellie. Like, Ellie, like I said, maybe there's something they know that I don't know. Maybe they've had some success with this, but I know Complex has been playing a lot of ADC. They brought in Demon Angel. They're going to throw him into the jungle. But I I just I just can't get super behind this. And as horrible as that sounds, it's just because like you just don't have damage sort of where you need it.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like Leandries can be very powerful too for this Malzahar and Morgana. Like I could be proven very wrong if they're able to get good burn off. But like we said with the bot lane, like when you have someone like Taric, you want someone that is able to just go in. Like Kai'Sa's not bad with Taric. Like I said, Vayne's not bad with Taric. People that, you know, can get up close and personal or even have to get up close and personal to do a lot of their damage. But Ezreal is just one of those champions that, you know, there's the meme of farm with Q, you know, it's a big meme for Ezreal.
You definitely want to farm, or sorry, you definitely want to hit your Qs first, hit your abilities, see how much damage you've got on the board, and then you go in with the E. So, and typically by that point, Taric has already used its stun. So again, it's not the best bot lane. However, I do want to point out that we are definitely looking at this from like a late game-isk perspective where Mundo is definitely just running down your face. But keep in mind, early game, Ornn is destroying Mundo. Mundo is a very, very, just maybe not a good champion early game. Definitely before level 6 especially, and even after level 6. I don't know if you've played a lot of Mundo in your day, but Mundo is definitely one of those characters where you definitely need to just stay back, maybe lose some CS in the laning phase, and then farm with Q, and then wait till 6, because that's when your sustain is actually going to come through for you.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be loading into this game real quick. As the matches go up, we're going to try and sync this all up. Yesterday, I had some issues with this client. I really hope to God I don't have those issues today. But let's see. Riot may bless me with good client today, as it looks like I'm taking a minute to load in as it is.
Yeah,
already.
Yeah, 0% for me as well, so don't worry. I'm right. Oh, wait. Okay, no, I'm still loading. It's completely black for me.
All right, so I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I'm totally with you.
So hopefully everything's all got up. Let's just try and take a look here just for a second. Some starting guys. We haven't seen Morgana. She is going to take Blue Smite this game. So we'll see. I mean, the slow is fine. I would rather see red. Like your snare's pretty long.
The red too. Yeah.
Yeah, your snare's pretty long.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't really know that there's a point for the slow after that. Like, if you're concerned about the laning phase, or sorry, if you're concerned about your ulti, like, your ult already slows. So, and slows don't stack as well as they used to, like, a few seasons ago. So, it's not the best, but, I mean, I don't know. Like, the red smite isn't really that great on Morgana either. So, I guess you don't really have a whole lot to be going on.
Basically, what we're getting at here is Smite in general is not very good on Morgana.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Morgana jungle is actually decent. I did go against it earlier today, and I did win, but you know that's because I'm like the best junk. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely a good thing. That's what I think the main thing is.
It's a niche pick, but we do actually also have Ezreal. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely a niche pick, and then it seems like, so the Ezreal and Taric are going into a very interesting direction. Sorry, the stream is loading for. Sorry, you talk for a second. My stream.
Yeah, I'm at 152, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, Ezreal is starting off with the tier. I'm not a big fan of the tier build. Like, you don't have a lot of damage whenever you have the tier build, in my opinion. So it kind of hurts your laning phase a little bit, especially because now the Caitlyn can just completely outdamage you. So you see here, she's getting a lot of really good poke offs. This Ezreal does have to step up a little bit to farm. The perk of this is that he can use his Q more to farm.
Yeah.
But we do see a little bit of a trade in the top lane. Axiom does not come out on top on that trade. Neither does Castroma, actually, either. So we are seeing a little bit of maybe positives coming in through for them.
And this is something that I also wanted to touch on, was basically we're definitely discounting Ellie's team comp a lot here, just because we are looking at it from a very late game perspective. But keeping that in mind, this is definitely not a team comp to sneeze at when you're talking about mid game Malzahar, mid game Morgana. Like, these sorts of champions are definitely the types that will absolutely ruin a single person's day, just one person's day. But if you can tell just one enemy team member, then you know as well as any other League of Legends player that is usually enough to basically completely win a game. So
yeah,
it's definitely something that we need.
Suffocated. He's probably feeling a little suffocated right now with how much damage he's been able to take. But Morgana, oh, she actually does land the first snare, and that's the first blood going down to Carnage on the Malzahar. Wow. So Morgana actually does come through with the snare.
Yeah, no summons used there at all. So Castroma maybe didn't think that binding would hit him, or just didn't think of thought he would dodge it, or didn't think that he needed to.
Do you see Inferno coming up to top lane, as it looks like both him and Axiom are going to try and start to engage, as he does actually have to Q away, but it looks like Axiom's going to flash on top of him, but we're focusing a little bit more down on bot lane as we see the Yone come down. He is going to use a little bit of his W, trying to get a little bit more damage off, and he does actually get
oh my god,
Morgana, and is able to get out of it too. Well, that was pretty good. I was able to get the roam down after dying and get the trade kill back on the Morgana.
We said he was feeling suffocated, but that did not look like a suffocated man to me. That guy wanted blood as soon as he was back out here. Be
careful, Axiom, and Axiom goes down to Foja. A little bit of a cocky play there, man. Like, he obviously didn't see him. He's in the bush, but oh, that is so disheartening for him.
That is very tragic. As a simple note there, for any Mundo top laners out there who want to just learn a quick tip, usually the best strat, especially pre-6, is to throw out a Q into every bush. That's usually how you're going to be able to figure out if the enemy who you think has recalled is actually still there or not. It may seem like a waste of HP, but in that instance there, it would have saved his life. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. But I just want to point out that how hilariously incorrect I was about the top lane, because this is definitely not a wet noodle fight there at all. The Foja is definitely in the lead here. It's only a small CS lead, but that kill is pretty big. And when you're talking about two fairly similar tanks, again, I do favor Mundo a little bit, but two fairly similar tanks, and one of them has a kill, you're almost always going to be winning the fight with the one that has the kill. So we're definitely going to want to track that top lane as this game goes on.
Sorry, I'm obligated to try and get there when the action starts.
Had me holding my breath there.
In the spell shield, but he does actually have to get out of there, taking a little bit of damage. But we do see Caitlyn trying to lay down that trap. There is a little bit. Oh no, they're gonna stun up the Braum, as Morgana's actually gonna start coming down here too. And it looks like we're just gonna have a little bit more of an engage in top lane though. Axiom taking a good amount of HP with that W, does chunk down his health. One thing I was going to say actually about this top lane, with Ornn, he does have the Brittle, as he's actually going to get the call of the Forge God. He's going to try and go down, and he gets Axiom again, as we see even Carnage about to take down Castroma, and he does. Complexpedia, but Castroma. So this early game is going very well in their favor right now.
Yeah, and again, this is definitely something that we mentioned, right? It's the early game from Ellie. They are very strong right now, and they're not afraid to flex their muscle. Their only death right now is on that Morgana jungle. So they have a lot of potential with their solo laners right now. And it's actually not really. We were talking a lot about the bot lane as well in the early game, or sorry, before the game started. But it's actually the dragon is even going into Ellie's favor. So a lot of dominoes falling in Ellie's favor right now, and it's up to Hot to pick up the pieces and try to figure out what exactly it is that they want to do. Because for now, their Mundo is not in a very great shape, and I'm also very scared for their Yone because their Yone is not looking too good. he has the one kill, so that is his saving grace. But there's definitely a lot of work to be done.
Looks like he actually is going to catch Complex out, but nope, the stun does come through and he goes over. Yeah, that's something I actually never thought I'd see in League of Legends. The Morgana took the very first drag of the game.
Yeah.
But it does look like Inferno's going to come up and engage onto the Ornn, as Ornn's going to try and get away, but can he slow him with an axe? They're going still through. He does slow him with the axe, but Inferno and Axiom are just going to have to back up, as it looks like they did get a reset in bot lane, as looks like Fallen and Mega are going to try and reset here as well. And Castroma having to fight for a little bit of this farm right now. Like, he is getting chunked down almost every time he wants to. Obviously, Shield got him through there a little bit, but Carnage right now, he just gets a free, basically, one shot from Yone before he does take any damage right now. That spell shield.
Yeah. And again, it's the story of the top lane, right? We saw that failed gank earlier. Like, the Ornn is so tanky. Do you think he would be as tanky if he didn't have those 2 kills? Granted, all he has is 2 cloth armor, so not the best help against Mundo Gragas. Well, he does have the Ruby Crystal and Null Magic as well. So it's not the most help, but it was definitely enough there. Like, he had plenty of HP after encountering the Mundo Gragas there, and that's sort of what happens.
Like, yeah, and Call the Forge God connecting again. Castroma, the Complex is actually going to use his ult right here, as it looks like Axiom is going to go down again. Axiom actually able to flash out, has to burn the Mundo ult to be able to keep that health regen going, as we also see a little bit of an engage in the bot lane. They are going to ult, but then all of a sudden now you have Inferno coming down here, the Taric ult coming through to try and get him, as we also see Ezreal ulting in, trying to get a little bit more damage in, but they also have a TP coming down bot lane, and it looks like the Braum is going to get stunned. The Braum may go down here, but the Braum is able to flash away. Inferno trying to come back in, and it looks like they're all going to get away, but here comes Castroma using in the ult. He does get the Ezreal down. Will he continue to go? He's going to get the Taric as well for the double kill. Still chasing down Carnage. Inferno with the engage. He has to flash out of there. He's able to get out. A little bit extra poke damage. That's 2 kills going the way of Castroma's Yone.
That was absolutely disgusting. So just when we were talking about all the good things that were happening to LE, they completely whiff their positioning bot lane, and they end up paying for it heavily. 2 kills going over to Hot side. And
Axiom needs to back off a little bit there, but they are going to get the recalls back. But Mundo's health regeneration helping him out a little bit in this.
Yeah, the more HP he's missing, the better he is at regenerating that HP. So it's definitely not something that he should die to, but if he needs to recall, he should recall if he has the gold. Unless he's waiting on like an item or something, but the Morgana scares him off.
Axiom, buddy. Morgana pushes deep. She does lose her red buff for it, but also we see they're going to try and actually get out of here. They use the Taric stun, they miss it, but it looks like Castroma's going to come back in here again. The stun does come through on the Taric. Taric is going to go down. The Ezreal ult misses, but we do see a Rift Herald being spawned up here. Almost all the plate's going to be gone. It looks like this first tower is actually going to go over to LE. They are trying to get something going here in this mid lane, but not even close to what they're going to be able to get going here in this top lane, as it looks like Morgana and the Ornn are going to be able to take it down very easily here.
Yeah, the gold lead's still definitely looking in LE's favor, but they need to, I think, position a little better or pay a bit more attention to their warding. And a lot of poke onto Braum, but he's doing okay. And so their bot lane has rotated mid. They're probably going to go back to bot lane very soon. But I want to quickly touch on like a couple things there. So one, I didn't even see them catching the Rift Herald. That was like, there was a lot of time where you were just talking because a lot of things were happening. So the Rift Herald definitely helping the Ornn and Morgana getting that top lane turret and getting a lot of that gold lead that they currently have.
Oh, the trap comes through. Castroma going for the engage. The ult comes through, knocks them all towards him. Will he be able to get another kill on Carnage? Look like Carnage might be able to get out. The ult coming through, but it looks like also the burn may come through. And yep, he does go down for the 500 gold shutdown. But that is 2 kills going to the side of Hot Take finally. They're looking like they're maybe going to want to set up vision around this drag. But right now, the Morgana has had more of the objective control than the Gragas. I honestly can't believe those words just came out of my mouth. But it is just a true statement. Like, I was memeing on the pick, but it's working.
It is a true statement right now. It seems like Ellie's a little hesitant to take the dragon just because, well, they don't really have a lot of people there for one. And they also don't really know where Hot is. They have a few wards, but those are mostly defensive wards, so they don't really have deep vision into Hot's jungle, and so the Ornn recalls, and he is heading back top lane to catch some of the CS. And we just saw Mundo getting a plate top lane, which is very, very big, especially when you're not doing too hot on the scoreboard, 0-3, but he has a lot of CS to make up for it.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to have a game pause here. I'd like to say, though, I know I've said it before, I really wish Riot would just fix their freaking client, man. I keep falling behind. But this is actually really interesting of a game anyway. Like, Complex going from ADC to jungle here, picking the Morgana. I'm sure everybody, including myself, was thinking, what the hell are you thinking? By locking in a Morgana jungle, but his snares have been on point. He's gotten both objectives in the Cloud Drake and the Herald. Top tower is gone. You might have the 2 plates on the Mundo, but that's really it. Like, they might be grouping for Infernal Drake here, and like you said before, and it's a good point, and it's been showing through, like, they're going to have to make it to this late game. If they make it to this late game, they're going to be fine. But like I said, Leandri's is going to be a very impactful tool for them, especially on someone like Malzahar and Morgana, where they have a lot of burn.
I wonder if it is worth it for both of them to go Leandri's here, just because there is so much tank. Because you might already know this, but Leandri's, when you have 2 of them on a single team, you're actually reducing the efficiency, because if you both end up hitting the same person and Leandri's procs on that same champion, then nothing happens. It's not like the Leandri's is, you know, becoming double the damage. You're only refreshing the duration of the Leandri's from the last point in time it made contact with that champion, if that makes any sense. So basically, diminished returns on when you have multiple Leandri's, but
it does look like we might actually find another kill here. Can they get this over to the Caitlyn? A little bit of a heal coming through, and the stun doesn't come through, but yes, Caitlyn is actually going to get this kill. And it looks like they might be setting up towards drag, but the Ornn is TPing down. They're going to get aggressive here as Ornn's coming through. The knockup, not the way I would have positioned it there, Mega, but it looks like Ornn's going to get the call of the Forge God on him as they're going in. Ornn just knocks both of them up. Can they get it? The lock it is popped, and there's the going, and then there is the kill going for the side of Carnage. Looks like we're going to have another ult going down. The Gragas goes down too. Axiom trying to salvage something. He does get the kill onto the Ezreal, and it looks like they're going to have this Caitlyn also clean up, but will she go down too? Doesn't look like she's going to go down, but Axiom also able to get that kill as well. The double kill coming through for Axiom. They are actually going to get this drag off this. That was a good job by Castroma and Axiom being able to get down there and chunk out some of that damage. Now they're going to get this dragon that it looked like they weren't going to be able to get until that filled roam right there. So it was really good reactions by them.
Very heads-up play by the Mundo, actually. And we were ragging on him earlier for not doing too hot in lane, but definitely a very good teleport there. He noticed that there wasn't really a good ward for him to teleport to. He kind of didn't want to give away his positioning by teleporting to the turret. So what does he do? He instead teleports to that pink there in the dragon pit and walks all the way through the river to that kerfuffle that's happening. And that's how he's able to make his impact. And now he's up 3 kills. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he is on a killing spree. So,
huge 300 gold shutdown right now. Already having the Spirit Visage.
Very heads-up play by him on that teleport. And definitely helping out his AUC while he's at it too. 305. That Caitlyn is feeling very comfortable right now with the state of the game. When you're talking about Caitlyn, it's usually you want to focus on the early game and the late game. That's where Caitlyn shines the most. Mid lane Caitlyn isn't really the greatest AD carry, especially compared to something more like a Corki or even an Ezreal, really. But this Caitlyn is so fed right now that just doesn't matter. That there is no mid game power spike or power dip for this Caitlyn. It is just full steam ahead right into this Ezreal Taric. And I actually wanted to touch on this earlier too. When Taric, I think, Taric got caught earlier, which may have actually resulted in those in that huge team fight win for Hot earlier. I don't remember how long ago this was, maybe like a minute or two ago, but when there was a lot going on, Taric was actually kind of out of position, and it led to a lot of like bad things going on the side of Ellie. So a lot of their goal lead has actually just been straight up negated. Remember, it was maybe 1,000 or 2,000 gold earlier, back when it was maybe 18,000 to their 16,000. But now that's just non-existent. They're dead even.
Yeah, it looks like we are getting a fight near the Swift Herald. The Call of the Forge God is actually missed, and it looks like Axiom is going to get another kill on Carnage, but we are going to see the Ezreal come through on this Braum. They're really focusing down this Ornn now, and it looks like maybe he might be able to get out. Morgana does get the kill on top of the Gragas, but they are still going for this Ornn, this tanky boy right here, as it looks like Castrom's still chasing him down. Axiom gets it in the end with a little bit of an axe throw there by Mundo, but it looks like Complex is going to try and get a little bit more burn on this Mundo, but Mundo's getting to the point where he's tanky enough to take it. He does pop the spell shield, but
flashes into the Morgana.
Yep.
Not sure
that's a tilt play.
if
that's
that confidence was
there.
I mean, he doesn't have a reason to tilt though. He's 5-3, dude. Come on.
I'd be tilted if I was losing my objectives to a Morgana jungle, but it looks like Castroma is going to be able to return the damage. Nope, never mind. Axiom gets another kill. A lot of kills going over this Mundo right now. I think you probably want to shed a little bit over the Castroma Axiom. Like, sharing is caring in this situation right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're 6-3, I mean, who's the real carry in this situation, right? Like, Mundo's nothing to sneeze at late game. He can absolutely decimate your carries. I could not finish that sentence with a straight face, but listen, Mundo, late game, fed is still definitely a threat. Like, obviously you want that going on to Yone, but definitely not a bad thing that it's going on to Mundo. And I quickly wanted to touch on something from earlier. It was the fact that, but actually, never mind. We have something even more interesting going on. Gragas is apparently taking the blue buff as... Sorry, I don't know. I thought for some reason Gragas was on the enemy team. But I actually wanted to point...
Go ahead.
Sorry. I actually wanted to point out... I actually wanted to point out when you were saying that, oh, you're very surprised that Morgana has like better objective control than Gragas. That's actually kind of expected when you think about what Morgana does in the mid lane. Morgana is definitely one of those types of champions that wants to control, is all about, you know, taking over a lane, even in top lane or support. Like, that's sort of what you're doing. You want to negate the enemy spells with your Black Shield, and then you want to snare them and then just ruin their day where you decide that they're not playing League of Legends for 4 seconds straight as that snare comes through. So Morgana is definitely a very, very control-heavy champion, but it seems like Ellie is all out of control in this game, because right now they are down to 5 kills and they had a goal lead, but positioning in bot lane definitely cost them that. And so now they're going to be just playing catch up and playing for picks, because that is what their comp does best.
Oh,
and
they're going to be able
exactly
to catch out Castroma here, though. They're going for this dragon. This could put them in a pretty good position, but Mega's actually coming up here with the Braum. Does get stunned by the Yone. Not going to matter too much. He's going to be able to get out of that pretty clean, even though with the burn. He's going to go a little bit to lower HP, though.
I am not a fan of how they just walked away from that Yone. I feel like that was a kill if they, like, before the Braum game, if, like, a little, like, maybe 30 seconds ago, that was definitely a kill if they were able to communicate a little better there. So definitely somebody dropped the ball on that one, but they are still very much in control of this dragon, and it looks like it may go over to them.
Yep,
a lot of grouping happening though.
The Forge God is coming through. He does knock him up. Axiom actually is godlike right now, going in on the complex is going through, and it looks like the Terra Cult's going to be popped on top of the Ezreal. Ezreal going to try and get as much damage, but a little bit of tankiness coming here through Axiom. They're going to chase him down now, so well, the Dragon did go through 2 LE, but they lost 3 people in the process. They definitely played that out very well, but we're seeing right now that this Ezreal is not really chunking down this Mundo enough. We were talking about that before. He is going to Divine Sunder build, so he is trying to get a little bit of some armor shred and some health going down, but it's just not going the way he wants him to.
I think one thing that is inexcusable. All right, and are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I've never been more ready in my life.
Not a single Grievous Wounds item on any of LE except for the Ornn with Bramble. So
nope,
not
Morgana
even
has an Oblivion Orb. Morgana has an Oblivion Orb.
Oh, okay. Well, I lied. Okay, so they have 2, but those are still incomplete Grievous Wound items. And considering how much they have, considering how much healing on the side of Hot, I would have expected Ezreal to go the Executioners a little sooner. Like, again, it's not the best item on Ezreal. It's not an ideal build path, but you kind of like want that because if Caitlyn or if Mundo doesn't like straight up auto attack the Ornn, and if Morgana, who let's be real, can very easily miss snares, like we've all seen Morgana's miss snares before. So if Morgana misses her snares, then there's basically no Grievous Wounds being applied on the side of Hot, and you have basically unlimited healing coming out from Mundo, and everybody else on that team, except maybe Braum, also has some sort of healing happening. So it's definitely not the ideal build path, which I'm somewhat disappointed in, but maybe they know something we don't. But it's
one thing you're not looking into that's Morgana with the Oblivion Orb is you're counting on her snare. That's not technically how she wants to apply this. She wants to apply this through Tormented Soil. So having the Oblivion Orb on her, she has an AoE effect that is able to do damage and is a burning effect on top of the Leandri's burning effect, so it actually applies it a little bit better than even Carnage could with the Malzahar. He is a pretty good user of it, but Ezreal is single target, so it's only going to apply to one of them. So Morgana is definitely, I feel like, the person you want to have on it, and Ornn, because that's the person that's going to be in the front line and hopefully taking the most damage. If you're Ellie, you want him to be taking the most damage. But they are going to drop also the Rift Herald bot, and it looks like they are going to take that turret. It's going to be unanswered, as it looks like Hot Take's going to try and take down this Baron. They should have enough damage for it, but they are going to have to send Castroma down to bot lane, as it looks like Ornn is coming through it here. Yep, and the ultimate coming in through Mega. He does not connect with anybody on it, but Axiom on point with these axes. Going to try and get in, but Braum Shield comes through, and he dodges a lot of the damage, but it looks like they are going to knock him off of the Baron, so they lose a tower, but don't really gain much off of it. But we do see the wave pushing in top lane, so they are going to have to go answer that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well try. You have such a mega tank with Mundo that like anything is possible at this point. The game is really a choose your own adventure. As long as you know when to back off of that Baron, you definitely don't want to try that.
Another engage coming through here as we're seeing Call of the Forge God come through. Will it connect? As Castroma does get the ult off, he is going to have to back off. It looks like Call of the Forge God doesn't go there, but he does knock up 2 people. Gragas getting chunked down, and getting chunked out even more by this Ezreal. They might have to back off here. Gragas is pretty much out of this fight, but it looks like you are still going to have the Braum coming in. And Axiom still trying to take up the front line. It's really good by him to try and continue to go up there and get that. But it looks like they are going to have to back off after they were able to chunk down Inferno. Inferno is going more towards a AP build, if I believe. Yeah, he's going more towards an AP build. He's not super tanky, so this Ezreal is able to chunk him down because he's just basically burning through that natural armor and magic resist that you build up over time instead of the ones that you would build up through items. So the Divine Sunder really coming in for him here. Obviously, we didn't really see much damage incoming on the Mundo, but it's just one of the cons of their comp. They were really looking to win this game within the first 20 minutes, but as the game goes on, we now see, we said before, a 2k gold lead. Now it's up to over 4 at this point.
Yeah, and again, we saw them sort of win a team fight where kind of nobody died, but they had full HP, and they couldn't even do Baron because because Hot is very, very ahead right now, and their team comp just isn't really that beefy. Like, they only really have Horn and Tarek, and not even Tarek really, because he doesn't really have a lot of tank on him yet.
Yep, we
And
are seeing
Mundo-
down here they're going to fight for this Dragon. Dragon is going to be taken up, but it looks like the Mundo is going to get stunned. He's getting chunked down a little bit. Call of the Forge got missed once again, stunned up. Morgana does take the Dragon, but it looks like also Caitlyn might lose her life for it, as also the Gragas is able to get him down. Orin going to go down. Demon Angel able to get the kill on Castroma, but then you see the Gragasol come through, and you have another double kill onto the Morgana by the Caitlyn. Then you have another axe thrown. Can they actually catch up to him? They do actually hit the Braum Q. Tarek is there to stun him up, but will it be enough as they have the Mundo all going through, and it looks like Moo Milk trying to come up here and salvage this situation, but he might be able to take down Mega, but no, actually the flash away, he does get stunned. He's trying to keep his distance here a little bit as he's trying to go through, but they are going to have the backup partner just coming. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, you definitely saw a lot of struggling there, and that single target damage that we were talking about earlier, we've been talking about this throughout the entire game. It actually does very much come through for the Ezreal, as he's desperately trying to kite away both the Braum and the Mundo. For several points in that fight, I thought the Ezreal was dead, but he kept coming back, whether it was the Terra Q, whether it was his own Q coming through. There was always something else for this Ezreal, and he actually was able to clean up 2 kills before finally dying. And the Mundo does die, so I think that kill did go over to the Ezreal. So a lot of gold on the Ezreal right now, and he's definitely the one person that needs to be doing a lot of the damage, because like we keep pointing out, Malzahar and Morgana aren't really shredding these tanks, at least not evidently. Like, maybe the damage charts will prove us otherwise, but for now, these are definitely not the champions that we're looking at who are tearing through the Mundo. It's definitely Ezreal, and yeah, basically just Ezreal. So
Well,
he's
just been able to get some good chunk in. Let's not get away from the Malzahar here. He has been able to get some good burns off with a little bit of the... I actually don't even know the technical name of it, so I won't use the nickname for it, but forget Malzahar's, I think it's his E. He's able to get that off and get a little bit of burn on the Mundo on top of Ezreal with the Divine Sunder. So they are able to get quite a bit of damage off on this Mundo, but yeah, the single target is definitely hurting them, as Mega's just doing whatever he wants over here. It's the Braum just 1v2ing, trying to get the vision control, as it looks like the snare does land on him. The pool just on the edge of it, so we are going to try and see
a bit of damage.
Yeah, it's a ward, guys. It's literally a ward. We've seen them fight over this for about a minute now.
This is what Ellie wants to do. They want to fight over really, really silly objectives, or not even objectives really, because I don't know if a ward can even be glorified enough to be called an objective. But this is definitely where they want to fight. They don't want to actually 5v5. They want to pick somebody like this Yon. He obviously gets away. But that's what this LE team comp is really all about. They want to just lock somebody up with Morgana Snare, have Malzahar maybe flash ulting or just ulting onto that same person and just blowing them up. And honestly, I think right now they have enough damage that they could maybe cut through the Mundo. I wouldn't put money on it, but I am more than 50% certain that they could probably, if they all were focusing on him, could probably just one combo the Mundo. Although it would definitely be very, very wasteful, and they probably don't want to be doing that, but it is definitely an option that's available to them. And a lot of the vision actually on Ellie's side is centered around the Baron pit. It's not actually on top of it yet, so that's definitely going to be something that they want to be looking at, as this very, very alone pink ward is being cleared. So that's the only one that they had near that pit. These other two that they sort of have are very much for defense. Ezreal ult goes through to check the Baron pit, and it seems like they're not doing it, so they come up ahead and start clearing out some wards. And
we're seeing TPs in too to try and take this Baron. It does look like they might almost have to hand this over. I'm sure they don't want to hand it over for free. They are going to try to start having people grew up, but
Caitlyn is very, very late to the party.
Yep, we see Axiom going in almost all by himself. He's getting chunked down pretty quickly. We still call the Forge God going through as Ezreal is going to get Tarek ulted. It looks like also Gragas not being able to get in there, but it looks like also he stole it like licorice with an auto attack on Ornn. Oh my god! Licorice and Carnage! Oh
To be
my
fair, he did.
god!
To be fair, he did have the Morgana smite there, so I think Complex, he missed the smite there, but it was just barely, like 22 HP was I think what it was last at, and then the auto attack came to secure that Baron. So definitely not ideal, but something that we haven't actually touched on at all is, well, actually I think you have touched on this a little bit, but LE has 2 Mountain Dragons right now, and they're about to get their third, and that is going to be Mountain Soul on the side of LE. They are somehow pulling themselves out of the goal deficit that they were in and finding a way to break through Hot's team comp, just refusing to let them group up. We saw it there in the Baron fight, actually, where the Caitlyn was just very, very far away. And as soon as they saw that, the teleport immediately came through from the Ornn, and they started that Baron, and they got it with, granted, not the best secure in the world. You don't typically plan for Ornn auto attacks to be the way you're securing, especially Baron. But it ends up working out for them, and they equalize the gold. They have a slight gold lead, which is basically nothing at this point in the game, but still, they're definitely not out of this game yet. They're trying to make the statement that, hey, you better respect us. We have the Mountain Soul now, and we are going to be able to pick you guys off, and you are not going to be able to do as much damage as you would like onto us. Because we have been talking about this a lot, about how LE doesn't really have a lot of damage on their side to shred through chains. Well, Hot doesn't really have a lot of damage either. We're talking about Gragas, who is a very, very early game champion. Very, very early game. He does have his ulti, but is not the best. He's not the best AP champion in the game, especially when you're comparing him to other junglers like Fiddlesticks or something like, I don't know. Maybe
Looks
even
like Castrum actually is going to go through, gets the ult off. Braum actually are coming in. It looks like that's all they're going to get, but the Call of the Forge God does come through. He actually does connect it this time, but only on Mega. A lot of chunk damage going down on this Caitlyn. Caitlyn's going to have to back off a little bit. The burn is coming through here. Yeah, they are going to get this turret. They maybe get the the inhibitor turret too. I think that they are able to probably get this push on with all the health that they've taken. Looks like they're going to try and defend it. Looks like Braum is going to step up a little bit, but he's going to get ulted down by Carnage. Carnage actually has to back off that. So
a lot of damage on that Braum.
The shutdown by Morgana onto the Caitlyn, and it looks like even more damage coming in through onto Axiom. Oh, do we actually see the Morgana?
Oh my god!
Jungle out as they destroy an inhibitor. Kashrama trying to come in and salvage something, but he can't stay for very long, and the Ezreal ult comes through. They're trying to clear out this wave. Axiom throwing a little bit of some axes out there, but it just needed little. They can't end it here. They cannot end it here. But something I'd like to note is even this Ezreal at this moment just like heals up all the damage that has been done to him with this Mountain Soul. Like Mountain Soul definitely was something that was going to favor Hot's team so much. Like, you have the Mundo and you have the Braum. That was going to favor them so much. They got that. This is a free win for them. Well, Morgana stepped in and said no. Then they tried to go for the Baron, and then freaking Fosha comes in, cosplays Licorice somehow, and steals it with the freaking auto attack. I'm actually probably about to contact FlyQuest and tell them I found them their new top laner. But, like, shit, like, this has been interesting. Like, I got the caster curse, man. I gotta just start saying that the team that I think is stronger is actually weaker, because, like, that is...
Yeah, never discount the Morgana jungle. Like, we have a lot of interesting champions in the jungle right now. Morgana is definitely one of them. And you said it yourself early game. Morgana was doing a lot of work for these objectives and a lot of picks, a lot of... Especially if we zoom all the way back to... I think it was level 3 maybe, when Yone first died. That was actually Morgana securing that first blood for the Malzahar. And it was like, that has really been the story of this game. Just the jungle is able to somehow translate all of the power into this team and somehow make their early game team comp actually work. Because when you have a Malzahar Morgana, you do have a lot of siege. So that is one thing that late game you definitely can do when you have the Baron buff. even if it's on just one person, on that one person, it's enough because the minions are empowered. Here, the minions aren't empowered in the top lane, so those are obviously going down very, very easily. Ezreal landing
We are going to see a little bit of action here, as it looks like they are going to get the stun up on Kasharoma. Kasharoma is going to go down. The Ornn ult does come through and knocks up a couple people, but Malzahar ult, on the other hand, landing onto the Caitlyn here, as Caitlyn takes a huge chunk damage from Ezreal. Demon Angel able to come in there and get down the Caitlyn, as it looks like Terrath are going to engage now on the Braum. It takes a minute, but they do get him, and it looks like Axiom is the lone man up here, as they're going to have a Greg Assault into the tower, but Axiom is probably going to go down here, as it looks like they are going to be able to chunk him down. It takes a whole 4 people to take him down, but they actually do get the Mundo finally, as it looks like also Potion coming through. This should be the game right here, with a Morgana mid, no tank shred. Somehow, some way, we are able to pull this out in the favor of LE. We can talk about this Morgana and hype it up all we want. I'm still dodging my solo queue games if it pulls through. I'm just saying Complex is a god. That's my analyst on this. Complex is a god, and he made it work. I'm not backing off on my statement that I don't think Morgana jungle is good.
I mean, listen, Morgana jungle, definitely a niche pick. It's definitely not a pick that you want without something like a Malzahar mid lane. But since they were obviously able to plan out this game ahead, they were able to make that Morgana jungle work, and they flexed it really, really early. So that probably threw Hop for a loop there.
Yep. So we do actually have Complex in here. So let's get a quick interview with Complex, man. How's it going
what up,
after your
boys?
victory right now?
Yo, feeling great. Yo, we had to do it for Kip, man. You know, he was dealing with some stuff on the side that ended up having to pull him away, and he wasn't able to make it to this. But you know, our boy Demon Angel ended up coming through for us, being able to fill in. And yeah, I played the jungle role. Haven't played jungle in a minute, but you know what? Jungle Morgana's kind of OP.
So talk to us about...
I don't want to talk about this. Don't say Jungle Morgana's OP. I'm not backing off of my statement. I said you're a good player. That's the reason it worked. I'm not accepting Jungle Morgana. Yeah, I'm not. I refuse to accept it as a pick.
So as a fact, Jungle Morgana can clear all 6 camps leashless by 255. If you think she's still bad after that...
What do you think about your game? Because I'm still not defending this pick no matter what you say. So,
Great, man.
how did you feel coming into this, man? Like, it seemed like you guys were actually in this draft going to come into this to a little bit of a disadvantage. They had 2 really big tanks, and the only really big damage you guys had coming through that could even be considered a tank shredder was Ezreal. But in the end of the day, the Leandres and everything, you guys got ahead early. So what was your guys' game plan coming into this?
So with Kip, our game plan was almost the exact same. The difference being Ezreal Tark bot lane. We would have done, you know, like a different ADC with support that would have worked for it. Having Demon come in, he's a very strong Ezreal player, and he felt very confident playing Ezreal and Caitlyn, so we let him have that. But yeah, across the board, this was like for everybody else, it was the exact same game plan. Believe it or not, Leandre's burn is strong enough as a tank shredder as is. You don't need someone with like LDR or something like that to like really shred tanks. I mean, you saw Mundo's health bar just get popped whenever we're stacking our Leandres. Leandres with Oblivion Orb, he's burning so much, and it's just too difficult for him to like realistically tank through it. That being said, we also had a very strong poke comp and siege comp, so it made it very easy to execute once we kind of got the grasp of what our win condition was going to be and stopped engaging first and allowed them to engage onto us, and us just kind of play back and poke at them.
Yeah. So, yeah, one of the things that was pretty interesting over here. Are you afraid to lose Foja to FlyQuest? Are you a little afraid over there of losing him to FlyQuest?
Look, man, I've been saying it for the longest time now, and y'all been doubting. Foja, do not sleep on him. This guy's insane, okay? You're going into this, everybody was saying Axiom's number 1. Everybody was saying it, and I said, look, man, if you play your game, you play it right, you understand wave management, you can do your thing, and you can pop off and win. And, I mean, he did it. He did his thing. He got several solo kills. He played extremely well.
I just want to point out that last Baron slap there at the end there, he was basically slapping away all the hate with that Baron secure. Like, I think it was you, right, who maybe didn't have the best smite in the world, and Baron went down to like maybe like 1 or 2 HP, and then Orange just comes in here with the auto attack. How did you feel about that at that point? Because I think you had died. So what was your sort of thought process at that point in time?
So I know on that Baron, I was just focused on like Wing it and doing my thing, but I was also concerned about everybody else. I want to make sure I could help out my team. It ended up Inferno smited it early, and I saw like 27 HP flash, and before I could smite it myself, Foja just smacked it with the Orn Hammer and took it. So clearly Foja's the better jungler. I mean, it's just insane. But yeah, I mean, he played very well, secured it for us, and we ended up getting the dub. So I'm very happy about my team.
Yep, so we confirmed Foja, the licorice of our league. Cosplaying licorice this week. We'll see if he's able to keep it up. But congratulations, man. I'm really happy for you. We definitely came into this thinking that team comp was definitely a little bit on the troll side. Morgana jungle is still troll. I'm going to get you out of here before you can argue with me on it.
But...
I didn't respect it at all. But,
I just want to be on the right side of history.
It's been great talking to you. Best of luck in the future, man.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we are going to have to wrap it up here with Game 2 of Hot Take versus LE. I forgot to tell Complex to change his team name, but I'm sure I'll tell him in private. Or at least give me Google Translate next time I cast. But it's been a banger of a game. We saw them come in with a huge deficit, losing 2 bans, having to switch over to the jungler, and they were able to pull it out. The greatest Cinderella story I've seen so far in this league. So it's been great. Anything else you got to say, Mo?
That was definitely a comeback for the books. I did not expect such a huge comeback. I think we both sort of discounted how good the siege was on the side of Ellie, and it just totally rung through, and it ended up winning them the game.
Yep. So we will see you guys back here tomorrow. We will have the game of Beatty Carey Fan Club versus Da Babies. It should be a banger. I should be here again tomorrow. I don't know. Anyway, check out that game tomorrow. It's been a great night.
Much love, everybody.
You got me breathing underwater. Baby, when you're around, oh, I can do anything. It's like you gave me superpowers. I'm on top of the world when I call you my girl. My heart's racing, my heart's racing, my heart's racing, my heart's racing. It's like you gave me superpowers, powers, powers. Baby, when you're around, oh, I can do anything. Gave me superpowers, powers, powers. Gave me superpowers. My heart's racing, my heart's racing, my heart's racing, my heart's racing, my heart's racing.